Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold it just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the rookie rich.
Gotta be the best of us. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
Pretty hard, and look at what he's going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Billy Corgan's NWA. We had a pretty solid pay-per-view, and it went pretty well, I think. We had a 55, which, you know, I mean, we've had better powers, certainly. Some of our issues are within our women's division mostly, but overall, a fairly solid card. Pretty much if we see green here at this point, we're looking okay. We really want to hit, I think, like 58 or higher to really start moving the needle. But it was a better pay-per-view than Genesis. And it's about average with some of our powers. We've had better powers, certainly, but overall, not too bad. In it, obviously, Pillman escapes after a cheap win and gets to retain the title. Once again, Eddie Kingston losing. Ace Austin also sneaking out. a lot of BS finishes actually in this one a little bit, but overall we're still moving down. It was sort of our secondary pay-per-view kind of thing. We have another secondary pay-per-view coming up with Spring Stampede, and then I think after that is our big one for sort of the spring season, which is Clash of Champions. So we're kind of running the Impact style of having minor pay-per-views and then a big pay-per-view, right? So, you know, Clash of Champions is a big pay-per-view, Wrestle Wars a big pay-per-view, Halloween Havoc is a big pay-per-view. Then the weird one is that Starrcade is also a big pay-per-view. And then not really another one until Clash. Maybe Into the Fire can be considered a big pay-per-view. So this runs for 2 hours. Actually, Starrcade's 2. Starrcade should be 4. So Halloween Havoc's not one of our big ones. Starrcade is, but it is wrong on here. So let's fix that real quick. Our big ones should be 4 hours. So a much bigger show. So right now we're not really building towards that, but that doesn't mean big things can't happen on the smaller shows, but they're a little bit of a lesser importance. They're more about building the story. So we got some story to build after. If you guys watched our backstage episode prior to this, we have some new negotiations. A lot of new people that got fired in real life from WWE are willing to work with us. So Tommy End, Heidi Lovelace, Tom Phillips, Selena Vega, Lana, Mickey James. We also got a negotiation with Riho, Kalisto, and Laredo Kid. I think we're going to probably put Kalisto and Laredo Kid together as a tag team because we are a little lacking in our tag team division. Not immensely. I mean, we actually have quite a few tag teams, but like the Ascension are kind of, put it this way, if I didn't have a plan for them, they'd be the next gone. And they're definitely on their way out. We also have a problem with the Kingdoms tag team. Homicide and Leah Rush are just bad. They just don't work very well, to the point where I'm just going to delete them now. We also had the news of Leah Rush saying that he was retiring from wrestling. So I might not do that right away, but I might work under the impression that this is his last run, and we might write him out of wrestling. We also have Warhausen isn't really one of our tag teams. They're just sort of there. Did we ever get rid of them? I feel like we got rid of them. Danhausen and Warhorse are still somehow in this roster. Don't know how, but they're not really a tag team. Or they're more of a comedy team, or they're as filler. Von Erich's Revenant, the Ascension less so. Sleaze and Breeze are, Enzo and Big Cass are FTR. So like having an extra 1 or 2 tag teams wouldn't hurt. And I thought Laredo Kid and Kalisto would be an interesting tag team while we kind of deal with some of the storyline things. And then obviously Mickey James, Zelina Vega, Heidi Lovelace are all going to be great additions to our women's division, as is Riho. It's sort of my last shot. We've really been running into a problem with our women's division just not being able to move the needle in any capacity as being a hindrance to our division. I don't want to get rid of it because I think it's important to have one. But if this doesn't work, then I might just move to eliminating it all, but like a worker, and maybe make them just an alliance title, and occasionally bringing them in because at this point it's becoming a hindrance to our events. Like if you look at every event that we have, and you were to look at the show histories of them, pretty much the ones that are yellow, which means that they're not that great, are almost always the women's division in some capacity. So not always, certainly not, but definitely a consistent theme, and it's been a bit of a problem of if we want to move it to the next level, that's sort of the thing that we have to do. So that's what we're kind of looking at. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We made money last month pretty decently, and I think we're going to make more even now after we fixed that contract with our developmental brand, our former CZW company that we bought. So, you know, there's some good things that we can be working towards, and there's big money that we can spend if we need to, but that's sort of where I'm looking at right now. Now, we got a bunch of storylines to go through. Again, not many have ended. Some have kind of shifted focus. So we're probably going to see the beginnings of that in this episode. But that is it for the preamble. Let's go ahead and let's get on with the show. All right, we got kicked back down to the game here. We got some contracts, it looks like, to fill out here. Something about Big Swole kicked out. Got kicked out of a stable. Okay. So anything in the news here interesting, important to us? It doesn't look like it. We do have some contract negotiations. Pretty much everybody said yes, which is good. Jason Cade fully recovered from injury. That's fine. I don't. What are you doing? Rival bidding me, Hollywood. I mean, it's not really a rival bid because you're not getting exclusive, are you? Exclusive handshake. You're trying to take Kimberly off of me. Interesting. Why would you take an exclusive handshake deal for $400 a show? Is seriously being considered. I mean, your offer is currently not being seriously considered. I'm paying you more money. Exclusive written. All right, I'm gonna go to $650. And I'll give you 30% of your merch sales, and we'll say icons. No, well, I don't want to commit that much there. Let's not go crazy. 1-year contract sounds fine. What were you offering? You were offering just an exclusive ongoing deal. We can do ongoing. That's fine. Only handshake deals can have ongoing lengths. Oh, right. Yeah, 1-year deal. It's just, I have a better offer from another company. No, you don't. You don't have a better offer at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. You're getting a 15% merch cut. Is it because your travel costs? You want me to pay your travel costs? Is that better? Unless you're willing to improve. What do you want? What do you want? Willing to work all shows, whatever is needed. Exclusive handshake deal $400 with a merchandise cut of $15, a travel cut, no signing bonus. How about give you a signing bonus? How about a signing bonus of, I don't know, $2,500? Whoa, that's too much money. How about that? Is that better? Are you serious? Well, then I'm not. What do you think you're worth? Murray makes $100 per show. $700? We're getting to too much territories now. I don't know what 2-year contract. It'd be one of the two. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna give you the 2-year contract. The price isn't ridiculous. It's fine. Very annoying. Very, very annoying that our champion is trying to go to a lesser promotion for less money and considers that a better offer. It speaks a lot about our division, I suppose. Maybe that's why. All right. Let's get on to the show. All right, where are we at? We got a backstage incident first. Let's take a look at this real quick. Sonya has good mood, gave everyone a pancake from Pancake Station that she brought in. That's nice. We have an absent worker, Eli Drake, which is we gave off because he got pissy at our pay-per-view. We have no more open forums. We don't have any problems. So I'll just try to neither has a defined personality. I feel like Bo Dallas should have a defined personality. I might go in there and fix it up. Here, I'll try to I have to figure out what Bo Dallas should be personality-wise, but he should have something. Again, part of the problem with this, unfortunately, with what we have here is that we took this from an early build, and that's what we're playing with. So we kind of have to modify stuff as we go, because some of the personality traits weren't built in properly, and it was like this wasn't the beta, but it was a very early version of the RWC, and that's we're gonna find weirdness here and there, but that's fine. That's part and parcel of having started to save as early as we did, and easy things for us to fix. So not a big deal. We are expecting 879 fans. I will go ahead and do our arena, which we just souped up a little bit. Should definitely contain all of that. We may want to think about going out on the road at some point, too. I don't think those penalties from going elsewhere affects us. I don't think until we get to a bigger a bigger size. I think right now the expectation is that we're pretty much in one area. So for now, we're not worrying about it, but in the future, we may have to worry about broadening our horizons and moving around a little bit. Yeah, we were in Orlando for the last one. We're going to go back to Georgia for our studio, which apparently in the real world, as our real world NWA, or as our fictional NWA starts to flourish, the real NWA is languishing in despair after having been kicked out of their studio for divorce court filming. So, we're definitely in a parallel world for us here versus them. All right, we got 90 minutes to book. A lot of fallout from the pay-per-view we're going to have to deal with, some new storylines or some tweaks to storylines that we'll have to work with. So let's go ahead and let's book it, and we'll catch you guys on the flip. All right, guys, we are ready for a 95-minute show, full packed show. Trying to build some storylines, some new ones. So we'll see about that a little bit later on. Maybe some of the stories in this one, just because we're trying to get some wrestlers on here. Some of the new talent, the new pool that we got in. And I want to see how they fare against a few people. So that's kind of how we're booking this first episode. Let's go ahead and let's get into it and see how it goes. So we start off with the debut of Mickie James, who we just hired against Deonna Purrazzo. It's actually not bad. She's got a 48. Deonna Purrazzo's got a 45. 44. Gets us a 45. Mickie debuts the country curl gimmick and gets a poor rating for it. Though as a work the crowd match, it does get the show off to a strong start. 7 minutes. Mickie James gets the pinfall with a Mickie DT. It's not bad. I would hope for a better gimmick reception, unfortunately. Kind of interesting, we have Mickie James and now Nick Aldis in the same company, which I think just happened, I want to say, in the NWA as well, so it kind of makes sense. It's a little fortuitous. But we might have to play into that now that Nick Aldis is in this not occult, like, new age thing, and if that starts to disrupt things for Mickie. But wanted to see how she did, how she fared. Did pretty okay. 48's not bad. I'll certainly take a 45 over the 30s we were getting, which I'm sure we have a segment later that I'm pretty sure we'll get like a 38. So that's a good early sign here. After the fact, unfortunately, in terms of overness, and which is we tested out, did not do well. Mickie debuts, waves to the crowd, hoping to get a pop. It gets a lukewarm reception, let's say, with a 36 here. Was hoping for a little bit stronger showing from that. Actually, this is the match I thought was going to do worse, but actually didn't do too bad. Heidi Lovelace debuts with Sonia Murato and against Nicole Matthews and Madison Eagles, aka Thought Crimes. Ends in 6 minutes. Heidi Lovelace gets the pin on Nicole Matthews. Mass had a 48, Heidi had a 50, so our two best performers in there did fairly well. She got a great rating for her punk gimmick. Gets a 46. Like, if I can do 45s, 46s for the women's division on the lower card, I think we can work with that. Certainly standouts here being Madison Eagles and Heidi, which leads us to the next segment, which does poorly but needs to happen, of Madison snapping and attacking her partner, Nicole Matthews, pretty viciously, ending Thought Crimes as Madison Eagles clearly moves on to become a solo competitor and put Nicole Matthews on the side. I was originally going to do like a feud. I don't even think I'm going to bother. I think we're just going to end it here and Nicole Matthews is going to go away. We might send her down to CCW Championship Wrestling from Philadelphia and let her develop there. But for the most part, we're done with her. And we're going to move Madison off as a singles competitor. I think she has a strong potential to get that kind of like bitch heel gimmick going. And we're going to kind of repackage her, focus on her. And I think she is going to be one of our short lists on the women's division that's really going to help start to carry it a little bit better. And we can see with this segment rating, it doesn't do very well. But, I think we have some options here. And we got a segment with Bowden Austin Taylor, in a video package backstage somewhere. They're in a room adorned by soft white curtains. There's a sound of flowing water from some type of fountain. It doesn't look like it's from the locker room. I think it's like like Bowden's compound, right? And it's lit entirely by just a myriad of candles all throughout the area. Bowden's in an all-white sort of ceremonial robe, and then behind him is Nick Aldis and Matt Cross. And Bowden ends up talking to the camera as he's surrounded by his alternative religious lifestyle followers, and he says, "Since I've come to the NWA, I've been able to show these two new followers a path to clarity and focus. People are so confused about why we're here in a fighting ring, an arena, to provide this sense of spiritual awakening. But the thing people don't know is that fighting has a long history of providing spiritual vigor. It unites the soul and provides clarity and focus. And at the Satorian Institute, I've been able to provide these two with a way to channel their inner essence into their battles. But it's time to show the world what the power of positivity, harmony, and enlightenment can bring. We need to show just how strong inner peace truly can be. That's why my greatest disciple, Brother Aldis here, will challenge for the National Heavyweight Alliance title next week. Got the crowd hotter. Segment's 44. It's a little underperforming. But, this definitely not a cult group. You guys keep on saying it's a cult, and it's very clearly not. It does not have any of the staples of a cult, and, I legally, I have to say they're not a cult. I've been advised to really hammer that home. But Bowden's disciples, in this non-traditional religious organization, are definitely winning and definitely showing a new path. And Bowden wants a title. He wants to prove that his way is the best way, and he's going to use Nick Aldis for it. So, Aldis is going to challenge Ricky Starks next week, and somebody else potentially, and hope potentially here get a alliance title and really show what he's worth. So very interesting. Big movement for him here, in terms of having kind of been on the bottom of the card for a while, despite having been the former NWA championship, now being gifted this potential from Bowden, and using that power to potentially climb back up to the Alliance title was very interesting. So it got the crowd hotter. Definitely an interesting segment. Does fine in the segment rating. Not great, not bad, about average. We debut... Well, actually, I think we technically did debut him in the pay-per-view, but Levi Big Rig Cooper versus an enhancement talent does very poorly. Unfortunately, most of that is by dint of our local enhancement talent. Levi's got a 45. He's a solid mid-carder. He's kind of what we're looking for, and it's certainly fine. But we give him a big win with a quick, dominant match. 5 minutes by pinfall. Project Mayhem gets the win. Afterwards, Joe Galley comes to the... Joe Galley brings him over to the sort of announce booth, and they do a quick interview, and Levi just does a very generic, like, I'm here, wrestling, Southern wrestling was my life, and I'm so happy to be in the NWA, that kind of thing. As he leaves the interview, King Mo comes out and kind of purposely and aggressively bumps his shoulder into Levi, kind of giving him a little bit of a pushback there. No fight, but just kind of interrupts him on the way out, kind of hinting at maybe King Mo's a little upset. He was supposed to be the big new darling after winning the square circle, and here comes Big Rig here trying to maybe overshadow him, and there seems like there's maybe some animosity. We start a new storyline as we kind of move into a build between the two of them here. It's a 42, it's not bad. And we debut our new Lucha tag team. This match is great. We got Warhausen versus Gran Cosa de la Lucha, which is formerly Kalisto, now back to his indies of Samurai del Sol versus Laredo Kid. Both these guys do great. Laredo Kid's got a wonderful 61. Kalisto has a 53. Danhausen has a 33, and Warhorse has a 41. Our big Lucha thing ends up taking the win here in 7 minutes. Gets a big high-flying match. It does fairly well. Gets us a 55. And yeah, they seem like they didn't necessarily have chemistry, but they worked well enough together. Samurai del Sol gets a adequate for his Mass Luchador gimmick, and then the classic Technico stylings of Laredo Kid gets a great... Laredo Kid is actually rated as I think a star for us, which is in the old system like a upper mid-carder, and well known for Kalisto, formerly Kalisto. So kind of interesting to see how they do together, but I like having them as a tag team for now. I think will be interesting. This is a 55, pretty solid rating. I think we put these guys against anybody, it'll be pretty good. After that, we got Ace Austin celebrating in the ring his dominance, saying how Nobody's been able to upset his next-gen championship. He's truly the future of the company. That apparently triggers Samoa Joe, who comes out and challenges him tonight, unless he's scared. Ace Austin clearly is scared, but gulps down and agrees to the fight in the main event. Segments of 61, they both do fantastic, and we have for our main event set up Ace Austin versus Samoa Joe. It's for the title, but technically any match Ace Austin is in, because he's the next-gen champion, is for the title. If he gets pinned or submitted in any match, even a tag team match, he loses that title. So, that's his life as the next gen, as the future of the company, and that sort of future can be stripped away at any time. And we have, in our co-main event, we got The Kingdom versus Pillman Jr. and The Revenant. The Revenant are sort of hired goons by Jeff Jarrett at this point, and Pillman Jr. obviously is kind of aligned with them. It's a good match, decent wrestling. Pillman Jr. and Revenant defeat The Kingdom in 13 minutes. Akam gets the pin on Leo Rush after a pump handle Death Valley bomb. That poor man is injured. Do not do that to him. Leo Rush was the weak link, struggling to keep up. Leo's not been doing well for us, unfortunately. Ricky had a 51, doing very good. Eddie Kingston had a 66, doing very good. Akam and Razor, 60 and 53, respectively. Pillman Jr., actually, one of the weaker performers on here, at a 45, and Leo at a 30. Gained heat for a lot of different storylines, because a lot of these guys are involved in different storylines. But we have the Kingdom lose. Unfortunately, Leo Rush just got kind of overpowered. There was no miscommunications. It's just that, Revenant are very strong and was able to kind of get Leo in a predicament that he suffered from. Gets us a 55. What do we want to turn here? Currently, he's a heel. Oh, we want to change his gimmick, yes. We wanted to give him a hard knock lifer gimmick, because his one was, unfortunately, got a poor gimmick. We'll have to tweak it and see if we can do something with it. We also are tweaking Pillman's, gets a great, of a sort of swagger, overconfident egomaniac gimmick. Kingston's was getting tired, so we wanted to try to change it up a little bit, but unfortunately it doesn't do very well for us here. And then afterwards, after the fallout of this, not a full blow-up, but Ricky Starks pushes Kingston and Leo Rush aside and walks to the back instead of walking away together. Ricky obviously is having animosity with the Kingdom. Kingdom seems to be crumbling, and Ricky Starks' big win as the alliance holder definitely seems to have inspired him to maybe think himself bigger than Eddie Kingston. And certainly, if you look at it, the Kingdom's had a series of losing streaks. Really, Ricky Starks has been the only one that's really won anything. Matt Cross, the perpetual loser of the Kingdom, having now won, leaving the Kingdom, and joining Nick Aldis and crew. So you kind of have to look at, is maybe Eddie Kingston not really the leader the rest of the crew needs? And Ricky Starks definitely seems to be moving away from the group in some capacity, or seeing himself at least better than the group. This does pretty well here. And in our main event, we have Ace Austin versus Samoa Joe. Fantastic segment, 68. It's an exceptional match. Both of them do fantastic. Ace Austin has a better in-ring performance than Samoa Joe with a 68. Samoa Joe has a 63. Joe was a little off his game in this match, which I think is why. This is a real BS ending of a match, but it makes sense for what was going on. Ace Austin cannot beat Samoa Joe. There's no doubt right now that he is just... Samoa Joe's too white hot for him. And Samoa Joe does defeat Ace Austin, but he does it by count out. because Ace Austin fails to get into the ring in time. Thus, because he's not pinned, he does not lose the Next Gen title. We advance the storyline of the prestige for Smoking Aces here. Gets us a 68, and then afterwards, we end the show with Samoa Joe raging after he dominated in the match and beat up Ace Austin so much that he fails to get into the ring in time, crawling to the apron as the ref counts 10. Due to it being count out, as I said, he retains the title, and upon hearing this from the ref and the announcer, Samoa Joe rages and flips out and rolls out to the ring to beat up and attack Ace Austin for failing to get into the ring. But Ace Austin pops up. He was playing possum the entire time and was not as spent and destroyed as he made it out to be. He deliberately got counted out to get out of the match. And he hits cheap shots Joe real quick. And meanwhile, as he does so, the other members of Smoking Aces come out to assist him and try to overpower Joe. They jump on him, attack him, and try to just wrangle him in general. Samoa Joe throws him off like they were a ravenous group of squirrels attacking a bear. But the distraction was enough for Ace Austin to scurry away, grab his Next Gen title, and come back to smash it as hard as he can across Joe's forehead, giving him Crimson Mask, leaving him down on the ground, and Ace Austin and team outwitting him. And the devious Ace Austin stands tall at the end of the show, lifting up the Next Gen title quickly before the team scurries away. Jarek 120 performed poorly in this segment. Everyone else did fantastic. Ace Austin looking like a star, gaining heat, and clearly building maybe the first stumbling block for Joe on his path to the pyramid is that while he's definitely the better wrestler and the stronger person, Ace Austin and his team may be able to outwit the brawn to his brain, right? Or vice versa, be the brain to his brawn. And definitely are going to be a challenge to overcome if he wants to continue this pursuit. Ends the show with a 60. Fantastic. We did appear a little bit worse because of that music production, which we know about. We'll probably get rid of it at some point and upgrade it. But for now, the penalty is not a big deal. We increased our popularity in all 25 regions that we show up in, and had almost a sellout already. 985. I can't complain about that at all. I have to say, looking at this, I'm super thrilled with our women's division matches. Madison was great in that match, despite her angle not being great. But, Levi, Big Rig, would have been better in his match, but that local talent didn't work very well. We might want to find some people that we can hire as local talent that are a little bit better for those type of squash matches. And then Mickey's debut seemed fairly strong. Had a good match with Deonna Purrazzo. Will be a good potential challenger against Kimberly, perhaps. We got some potential there. I'm trying not to give up on it. I think we have an ability, and I think this is the beginning of something good. Heidi Lovelace looking great. Mickey James looking great. Madison Eagles looking great. Kimberly doing very well. Perhaps that's enough to energize. Deonna Purrazzo actually looking well in that match as well. Perhaps that is what we need to propel that stage of the division forward. Overall, though, fantastic. Very happy with that 60. Very excited to see what comes out of that. We do have some mail. Check the news real quick, see if there's anything particular for us that we have to worry about. Or some new potential signings or retirements or things like that. I don't really see anything that's that important for us. Rey Mysterio Sr. retiring. So we're getting some retirements here. How was our show feedback? It was awesome, which I think we kind of knew. We are, looks like, good with our contract negotiations. Tom Phillips is going to be a fantastic ringside announcer for us, or ringside interviewer for us, which I'm excited about. Got a pay raise request from Delilah Doom. I'm just gonna accept it. It's really such a minuscule amount of money at this point for our PPAs that I'll take the bonus for her mood. That's no problem at all. We're still renegotiating that Kimberly. Hopefully we can get her in. I really would be shocked if she decided to bounce to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. It would be very weird and annoying for us. Overall, looking pretty good. Had a .05, 51,000 overall viewers, which is fairly good. Yeah, that's a hell of a start for the month here. And looking into positive, like we're really turning around financially, which is great as well. Yeah, I'm thrilled with that. So that was the show. Thank you guys for watching. Just the little channel notes. I don't know if you noticed, but we are very dangerously close to 2,000 subscribers. Crazy journey so far. But that movement is very slow, and there's a lot of you out there that are watching that are not subscribed. I hate meandering about the subscribes and the likes and the notification bell as everyone else does it. But please, if you are not subscribed yet, do so. Notification will get you pretty much instant awareness of when I upload, which is random sometimes, so you'll get to be notified of when that happens. There's a few people I've been in contact with that said that they thought I was on hiatus because YouTube wasn't providing them me showing up in their recommended feed. So, if you want to subscribe, get notified, that will help you know when I upload. And yeah, thank you. Let's try to get to 2,000 soon. That'd be awesome. Might have a surprise for you all if we hit 2,000 within the summer. So let's try to work towards that goal so I can have a surprise for you all. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Billy Corgan's NWA. Peace.